product we're going to install is a Wixey WR550, and that's their digital readout for large planers and other large stationary devices. It's particularly handy because it has a remote readout. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is find a suitable location to mount the scale. We're going to choose this as our upper mounting hole location for the scale. And for that, you'll just need a bolt that's not supplied with the kit. This looks to be an 8mm bolt, and you just need a short length, say maybe 1/2 inch. And we'll go ahead and, what we've done here is just enlarge this bottom hole in the bracket a little bit, and that'll allow a real easy spot just to mount that scale. And we'll just attach that loosely for now. On your machine, you'll want to choose a mounting location that steers clear of any of the knobs, like these carriage locks on this planer. But you'll also want to be able to loosen up this knob so that you can raise the scale up for doing your calibrations. And now we need to pick a spot for the magnet connector. It can attach to these tabs here. We've got 4 choices. And I think what will work best for us is to come right down to this location, and we'll just make use of this large factory bolt that attaches the cast iron sub base to the base of this machine. And to make that work, I think I'll just get the bolt cutters out and just snip this slot into kind of a U shape for this large bolt. Just fair warning, this does not appear to be a captive nut in this base on the jet, so just loosen it enough to slip in your hardware and retighten up the bolt. Another thing to notice as you run the table down with the height adjustment crank, just double check that your scale clears this bracket. If it does, you're good to go. You can go ahead and snug up the bolts and nuts, and we'll move on to mounting the display. Well, what you'll probably spend the most time obsessing about is where to mount the digital readout. And I think on this machine there's probably a number of good spots that would work. For me, it's going to be located right in this spot, just low enough that it's not apt to get hit by lumber as you feed it through the machine. It's kind of tucked in this nice little spot between the top rollers and the hand wheel. To make that happen, just remove the pair of screws that secure this factory scale on the front of the machine. I fabricated this simple mounting strip. It's just 1/8 inch aluminum, about 1 inch wide. 2 holes at the top for the readout, 2 holes at the bottom. We'll reuse that same factory mounting location, and we'll even be able to maintain the factory scale. These top holes just let us screw the readout directly to the piece of aluminum, and we'll do that with these short length, low profile 8/32 bolts. Dab a thread locker, probably not a bad idea here, and we'll secure those nuts. So fully mounted, it looks like that. The gauge will bend down this orientation, so you'll be able to see it from any viewing angle. Finally, we'll reinstall the factory scale using the same bolts. The scale will go on the back of our fabricated bracket and install just the same way. Next, we'll install the network cable and run that from the readout down below the table to the sensor. So I pulled one of those screws out just to use it again for a little heavy-duty wire clip, rubber coated. That'll do a nice job, give some strain relief up to the readout. The other end of the cable just plugs into the sensor. I'll just use wire ties and clip this wire into a circle, use a couple of these magnetic clips, and that'll secure it up under the table. That is a nice bright readout. It's really responsive too.